If you don't listen to that Groovy Scoobcast, then you go to jail.
But I don't like that Groovy Scoobcast.
Then you go to jail.
Welcome to that Groovy Scoobcast,
Your go-to audio hub for all things Scooby-Doo.
My name's Derek.
And I'm Shannon.
And today we are sitting down to talk about the new Scooby and Scrappy-Doo Show, specifically the Mark of Scooby and the Crazy Carnival Caper.
Yeah.
You said that you weren't really enthused about these when we talked earlier.
I didn't really, vibe with them.
Mm-hmm.
With the Mark of Scooby, because, the whole thing really takes place in his dream.
Right, so it didn't really happen.
No, those episodes always drive me nuts. Because they're always, there's no consequences to dream episodes. Not that, Scooby-Doo has any long-term consequences. But,
the ramifications are dire.
Yeah. If you watch Scooby-Doo for too long, you might end up with a podcast. But... But no, so that one I didn't, I'm not a huge fan for, any show when it comes to dream episodes.
Okay.
And then the Crazy Carnival Caper, there were funny parts, but, I don't know, I just didn't, I didn't vibe with them. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay. I don't know. We have really mixed feelings about this series usually, I think, so...
I think so, yeah. I didn't hate it. Let me just premise that.
I will say I didn't hate these episodes. I was actually pleasantly, willing to watch these again, so... Not too much to hate this week, but before we get into our discussion on those episodes, we're going to kick off the Mystery Machine Match, our weekly trivia competition where Shannon and I try to figure out which one of us knows Scooby-Doo better than the other. I don't currently have our points right in front of me, unfortunately, so we're just going to take note of the points we gained today, and I'll give you an updated total next week, guys. Sorry about that. But as always, Shannon, you get to ask the first question today.
An episode of Scooby-Doo's All-Star Laugh Olympics features a dune buggy race in what blistering hot desert?
The Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
That's the only desert I know.
I know. That's what I was like. I don't know enough deserts to give you multiple choice either.
Okay, here's your first question. What ancient land does the Scooby-Doo gang travel back in time to when they meet Genie? Egypt or Persia?
Persia.
It is Persia, although they didn't travel back in time. They just teleported.
No, I was going to say... Okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Only because we just watched that episode.
I know, but hey, we got the record straight, guys.
Yes.
What's your next question for me?
In the new Scooby-Doo movies, many stars were under contract in what television network? NBC or CBS?
Probably CBS.
Yes.
Right? Cool. Here is your next question. What country star sang the Scooby-Doo theme song for Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost?
Why don't I know this?
I don't know, but I didn't know it.
Okay, well then I don't feel super bad.
Do you give up?
Let's go Billy Ray Cyrus.
You're kidding me. You are kidding me. I'm really proud of you. Wow. Good for you.
I'd like to say I just blatantly pulled that one out of my ass.
Wow. Well, what's your last question for me?
I'm really proud of myself.
I am too.
Okay, what was Scrappy kept in on his train ride to Scooby-Doo? Was it a paper bag or a crate?
I think he was in a crate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's your last question. Whose ghost does Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Inc. kids meet in the Loch Ness mess? George Washington or Paul Revere?
I want to say Paul Revere.
You are correct. It was Paul Revere. We each picked up all 3 points today, so good for us.
Can we talk about this whole season? Either I miss or I get all 3.
We're doing a good job. I'm pretty happy. So that was this week's Mystery Machine Match. I will give you updated totals next week, guys. Sorry about that again. So, do you want to get started on the Mark of Scooby?
Yes.
Okay. Here is a premise for the episode coming from Scoobypedia. The gang goes to the Old California Festival, where they see a play involving Scooby's favorite hero, Alsabueso the Hound, who helps the poor. Later that night, while camping out, Scooby dreams he is El Scubo and Scrappy is Scrappito, and they must save Senorita Daphne and Senor Shaggy from the Commandante.
All right.
So this is the dream one.
Yes.
They're at the festival. They're all dressed up for it. And
what is Daphne wearing?
She's wearing like an old style woman's dress.
I hated it. It was ugly.
Okay. Thanks for that observation.
Yep, that was my observation.
As the premise said, they're here to see the play for Alsabueso the Hound, Scooby's favorite hero. I feel like Scooby has a lot of favorite heroes. I feel like we've seen quite a few episodes at this point where he has a favorite hero somehow involved. So I like in the play, like the man and the woman, they're not able to pay their taxes, and the way the Commandante is just like, if you can't pay your taxes, then you go to jail.
And like the poor people were just like, but I can't afford that. He's like, then you go to jail. All right, everybody's in jail. Now what?
I didn't take too many notes about that scene. It just wasn't really all that interesting to me. We do later see the gang camping out, though.
Yeah.
They're just camping out in the wilderness with a fire for reasons.
Just chilling.
Well, I like that they're right next to that fence where the horses are, too.
Yeah.
The horses are, like, watching them sleep.
Picked a weird spot to camp.
Well, the horse, that black horse in particular, was really watching Scooby.
Yeah. He was very interested in a giant dog. He probably thought that he was also a horse. He was like, oh.
Well, I mean, Scooby doesn't think he's a dog, so who knows?
I don't know.
Now, we do enter the dream world at this point. And, Shaggy and Daphne, they get captured by the Commandante and his soldiers for not paying their taxes. I noticed that the Commandante was just like, a bunch of worthless peasants that can't pay their taxes. And it's like, sir, do you even know their names? Like,
no, he doesn't.
Do you know anything about them?
He doesn't care.
Shaggy was kind of upset, though, when he got called a peasant.
Yeah.
He was just like, who are you calling a peasant? I'm not a peasant.
Yeah.
Excuse me? Daphne's rich as fuck. Like, she ain't no peasant.
She was like, watch yourself, actually.
So this is when Scooby and Scrappy, they become El Scubo and Scapito. I keep wanting to say Scabito. Like a scab.
I mean, he is a scab on my life. So when they turn into El Scooby-Doo and the scab, I like all the antics that happen, where it's just like classic hero movie moves, but he screws up every single one of them.
Well, like, yeah, that one instance where he's like swinging on the rope, and I'm just like, where is it tied to?
I know.
It's not tied to anything that we can see.
No, both times we have a rope thing. It's never, we don't see what it's tied to.
When he falls, though, he lands on that horse. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that horse talked for a second.
I wrote that down. I said, what language was that?
Angry horse language.
That right there tells me that not all animals speak the same language. It's not just animal language. Because Scooby couldn't understand the horse. But I felt bad for that poor horse. Because he looks like such an asshole horse. But at the same time, someone just landed on you, which probably fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And then he, like, starts riding you, tries to get you to jump, and you're just like, nah, I don't, like, I was fucking chilling, dude.
I was sleeping.
Like, I was just hanging out. And then, afterwards, what else happened to him? Oh, the other guy, like, fell into his water trough, and then Scooby almost fell on him a second time, but he, like, backed up or whatever at the end of it. It was just, like, this poor horse. Poor dream horse.
I made a note that the Commandante, like, he makes a really sinister comment about, now you'll be in jail forever or something like that. And so because you can't pay your taxes. And Shaggy says, can I write you a check? Yeah. Like, Shaggy was prepared to pay the taxes.
Both of them are like, we've got the money. Do you want it, or do you just want me in jail?
You're not offering me a way out here.
You didn't even ask me for the taxes. You just arrested me. Like, I had the money for them.
Right. So the soldiers did like chase Scooby and Scrappy out of the fort at some point, and they had to sneak back in. I remember at one point Scooby like peeks up around like this like barrel of hay or whatever, and then Scrappy's just like, "That's a very impressive way for you to get back in here." I'm like, he didn't do anything. He's hiding behind a bunch of hay.
Okay. I like that throughout that whole thing though, he just like, Scrappy was standing on the roof, and he was like, "You still forgot to save Daphne and Shaggy." And I was like, "Oh, like, that's embarrassing." Yeah. And it was just like, after the third time, I was like, "Sir," and then he was like, and then at the end, and Scrappy's like, "Now you can rescue him from inside the jail," and Scooby's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Bro, you could have saved them 3 times and you didn't."
Well,
like,
he forgot what the mission was entirely anyway.
I know.
So, I don't know.
He was like, "I don't know what's happening."
I just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
So, Scooby does sneak into the jail. He uses his Jake the Dog powers to become like a column, and then he hides behind another barrel. He sneaks Daphne and Shaggy out, and then when the guard wakes up, they have to pretend to be a mariachi band.
Okay, so I did want to make a comment here, because for some reason, it popped into my head as I was watching this little scene. And the way that Scooby, like, gets into the jail cell and, like, sneaks past the sleeping guy and, like, unlocks it, and he's like, "Shh, be quiet, like, come on, let's go," because they're like, "Oh, we're rescued." It reminded me, you're gonna laugh at me, it reminded me of Shrek, because
as I roll my eyes,
when he goes and gets the princess and she's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "No, shut the fuck up, like, there's still a dragon here, we gotta go." It's like that's what Scooby was doing. He was like, no, like, we still got moves to make.
Right.
And they get busted.
Yes, because the guard is now, like, pulling the mask off of Scooby. He's like, "Why are you wearing a mask?" I'm like, "Because there's a global pandemic." And I appreciated in this instance that Scooby had, like, 5 masks on.
There was, like, a whole pile of them.
And then, like, while this is going on, we see this window to the building, like, right across the street. And it shows the Commandante, like, just counting the money. And he's just like, "Ha ha ha, it's so devilishly clever of me to keep this tax money for myself." And I'm just like, yeah, you're just stealing money. It's really not all that clever. You're just being a dick. Because then he's also throwing the people in jail on top of that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, he's punishing them because they can't pay the taxes that he's also stealing.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wonder if, like, because I don't know if it's a king or queen or president, but I wonder if the person that he's supposedly collecting taxes for knows that, like, taxes are still a thing. Like, I wonder if they told him, like, "Okay, go ahead, like, we're done taxing the people, we got our money, we're good, like, we don't have to tax the people anymore." And he was like, "I'm not gonna tell the people that."
Possibly. And it just throws them in jail.
Yeah. And then, like, one day the king goes down and he's like, "Oh, why are there so many people in the jail?" And they're like, "Your Majesty, we can't pay our taxes." And he was like, "Bro, I canceled that like 12 years ago. What do you mean?"
So, when the Commandante sees what's going on, because he hears the mariachi band, he shuts the gates to the fort. And at one point, Daphne, Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy, like, they're running around from the soldiers. They wind up in that room where the money was being counted. And I like that it's just chilling on the table next to, like, a watermelon and a turkey.
Yeah. Like, a whole bunch of food and then 3 bags of money.
Yes. And, you know, I also noted that the way that the Commandante was counting the money, it really looks like it's only like $200 in total. Because he's counting the bills and he's going 1, 2, 3. I'm just like, okay, that's not that much money.
Well, also keep in mind, though, that Scooby's a dog, so in his dream, 200,
money.
He doesn't know what money is. He's like, "That's just a big pile of green."
There you go. So yeah, she's trying to, you know, gather the money, keep Shaggy focused on the money and not the food. And I don't know how she plans to, like, redistribute this money, though. Like, it's just a bunch of cash sitting on the table.
I don't know. And my thought with that, too...
Are you going to follow the honor system? Or are you going to be like, how much money did you give the Commandante?
How much did you take?
$200.
That's all of it. I wonder if she was planning, because she said something about, we can give the money back to the people and then they can pay their taxes. But the people that are in jail couldn't afford taxes, so they got put in jail. So if you're going to give it to the people in jail, those are people that he didn't take money from.
Well, no, she's talking about the people that paid this money.
Yeah.
It's being returned to the people who paid it.
Okay.
But then I'm also just like, yeah, but they were just paying their taxes, weren't they?
Yeah, they're fine.
Like, they were just following the law. The crime here is that the Commandante is stealing the money.
Yes.
Unless your theory follows where the taxes haven't been having to be paid for, like, the last 12 years or whatever, but I don't know.
So either way, the Commandante is the bad guy regardless.
I noted that Scooby got in a bread fight with the Commandante.
Yeah, so I liked that Scrappy made a point of saying, like, oh yeah, it's like...
an old-fashioned bread fight?
Yeah, like an old-fashioned bread fight, and I was like, oh, okay.
Is that a common thing?
I don't know.
Scooby swings from another rope at one point.
Yep, and that's when the Commandante is holding on to his
cape, yeah.
His cape. And then, I don't remember what Scrappy said, but it was something along the lines of, like, losing baggage or whatever, and he untied the cape. And that made me laugh.
Yeah. Daphne goes to catch Scrappy at one point. She catches him just fine. Shaggy says he's going to catch Scooby, and then completely misses. Scooby just lands on the ground next to the horse.
Actually, what Shaggy says is jump Scoob, but he's already falling in the air. So I was very...
but I think he said he was going to catch him, because Daphne just said she was going to catch Scrappy. Yeah. Yeah, completely missed Scooby.
Yeah, was not in the same era as Scooby.
And it makes me think it's like one of those dreams where like something is about to happen to you, like you're about to get hurt or something, and then you wake up like, oh! And I think that's kind of what happened here, where like Scooby hits the ground from falling, and then he's like, oh! Wakes up.
I'm awake.
My last notes are that he wakes up thinking he's still El Scooby-Doo, and the horse kissed him.
Yep.
And he did that little S symbol at the end. Kind of like the Zorro thing.
Yeah. Yep, I put it was all a dream, and then he did a Scooby S.
Sorry that wasn't all that much of an interesting conversation for that episode, guys. It wasn't that exciting of one.
No, that's what I said. I didn't love it. It was an episode. I
liked the Carnival Caper better.
Yeah, me too.
So here, I'll pull up the premise for that one. Also coming from Scoobypedia. The kids return to their high school for the Central High Carnival and run into their old science teacher, Mr. McDowell, who has created a ruby laser that can cut through the hardest metal. But before too long, the ruby ends up missing, and the kids have to find out what happened. So this episode establishes the very first high school by name that they have attended.
Yeah.
Being Central High. They're back for this carnival that's like late at night, and most of the time it doesn't look like anybody is there.
No, I think they came at like the end of the carnival, because at one point he was like, oh, we gotta pack up. But like,
there were still lots of people in the scenes where there were people, but then most of the time there just wasn't anybody.
Yeah.
It was very void of life. But this is a pretty big carnival from what I could see. Like, way bigger than anything our high school ever did when it came to public events.
This was definitely like a private school teen drama. You know, like this is a carnival that Clueless would put on.
So, was it Shaggy made a comment when they were walking into the carnival? Because he says, this is like one of the one times where I don't mind staying after school. So it kind of indicates to me that he stayed after school a lot, probably in detention. Was Shaggy a bad student?
I feel like Shaggy was the type of student that just deliberately didn't do his work. Like, he would take the tests and get A's, but he would end up getting, like, a C in the class because he just didn't do a single assignment.
Well, you know, Mr. McDowell even said at one point, like, how could I forget you, Shaggy?
Yeah. Like, I feel like Shaggy was just one of those, like, annoying students.
Mm-hmm. We meet Mr. McDowell after Scooby is scared by a jack-in-the-box that Scrappy riled up.
Okay.
He almost destroys the ruby laser. Ooh.
Yeah. No, that part kind of annoyed me a little bit because Scooby's sitting there singing the Weasel song where he's like, pop goes. So he knows the song. So you obviously know that something is going to pop out of that box. You don't just learn that song willy-nilly. Like, you learn the song as you're turning. So why was he so scared? And also, I didn't like that it took him a moment to react to it. Like, it popped up, and then he was like, yawn, rub the eye, and then he looked over and was like, ah!
Maybe it was just because it was a clown, but...
Yeah, it, like, took him a second.
So, like I said, he almost runs into the ruby laser that's in the science exhibit tent. And I'm just going to say, this must be some kind of a private school, because that is a really high-tech science project.
My high school teachers would never be able to put that on.
I can't even think of a science project that I ever really even worked on. So...
In high school, you just don't make things anymore. You just write a bunch of papers and then you cry. It gets you ready for college, because then you just write even more papers and cry even more. And then what happens is when you get into an adult...
Guess what, kids? So, yeah, this ruby laser, it, like, shoots a beam through the ruby, and then it cuts through, like, just this metal sheet of apparently the hardest metal. They don't say what it is, but I'm just like, this is really high-tech technology. You should be, like, pitching this to the military.
Yeah, not just at, like, a high school
It's a high school science project, right.
But, you know. Well, that is why they say, like, it's dangerous in the wrong person's hand.
Did they say that?
I think so. That's why they were like, we have to be careful with the ruby.
Well, Mr. McDouble then kicks everybody out of the tent, including Jerry, who's the student that was helping demonstrate the project. Mm-hmm. And I noted that he, like, grabs the ruby once everybody's gone, because he's going to, like, put it away. And then he just has, like, a evil laugh.
They really tried to make him the bad guy.
But he wasn't. So, like, he just had that evil laugh to just have an evil laugth.
Whenever I pick up a stone from now on, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to pick up a stone and just...
Just going to inconspicuously evil laugh right now.
Yeah. I think we need more of that in life. Just randomly, maniacally laughing.
Well, he walks out of the tent and then also just looks super suspicious.
Yeah.
And then we see that cop. Who's just...
Yeah, who is this rent-a-cop? Because I'm very confused.
He's just watching... Doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything until the very last scene of the episode.
Yeah.
So he's just watching. No, that's not true. But he's just hanging out, and I'm just like, why are you being weird, sir? I mean, yeah, I get that Mr. McDouble is being weird too, but
Mr. McDouble was like, don't be suspicious. And then the other guy was just... And then, but like throughout the whole episode, he would just pop up randomly, and it was like, I almost was expecting him to be the bad guy, but
the cop.
Yeah.
Well, no, but because if the cops are never the bad guys, the cops are the undercover FBI agents.
Yeah. But see, the second that the clown started talking, I was like, that's a high school student.
Well, yeah, and we've only met one.
Yeah.
And we don't ever meet another.
I'm very confused as to how Jerry is the bad guy.
Oh, I have questions too. Okay,
because I was like, because at the end I literally wrote, how is it Jerry? Because I'm like, what the fuck? Either. So, we see him every step of the way. How?
Jerry insists that Mr. McDowell participates in the dunk tank for charity, and Scrappy wants to dunk him, and he succeeds. Before he goes into the water, though, Mr. McDowell throws this black box over to Daphne.
He chucked it at her.
Right, and he's like, don't let that get wet, or don't open it, don't let anybody touch it. And then he gets dunked in the tank and disappears. He's gone. And everyone's just like, oh, where'd he go? And then suddenly there's a clown, and then the clown wants the box. So Daphne, Scooby, Shaggy, Scrappy, they're all just, playing hard to get with the box so that they can keep it away from the clown. And
it was a cute little monkey in the middle game.
Exactly. Although I like in the entire time that they have this box in their possession, they're so nonchalant about opening it. Clearly the clown wants what's in the box.
Yeah, the very first thing I would have done would have been open it.
like, they have a moment to check it. Because Scooby crashes into a peanut cart during the chase, and the clown disappeared. So, like, this is probably the moment where, like, okay, so a clown just attacked us. The man who gave us the box is missing. Maybe what's in the box would help with the investigation. Now, it doesn't.
Biggest thing... No, it doesn't.
It would not have helped, but...
No. But, like, what am I dying over? Like, I need to know what I'm going to die over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, you know, ultimately everybody's thinking it's the ruby.
Yeah.
It's not.
It wasn't.
It's just so annoying.
I have a qualm with that as well, but we'll get to that at the end. So they go back into the science tent because they were like, maybe he disappeared and then, like, is going to be in the science tent because that makes sense.
For clues too, yeah.
Yeah, and so they go and do that and don't find anything. They notice that the ruby is missing at that point.
Although, I kind of really wouldn't even notice that. I would have figured that somebody would have probably put that away. They would have just left it in the tent to chill.
Yeah, I wouldn't... Yeah.
I'm surprised they left the laser there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I did note animation-wise, the backgrounds in this episode were very inconsistent. There's a moment when they're about to enter the tent at the beginning of that scene, and you don't see half of the tent. Like, half the tent wasn't painted into the cell. But then they do a cutaway, like a close-up on one of the characters, and then when they go back to the main frame, the painting's there now. So I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Half the tent's missing. But when they leave the tent, now that they know the ruby's gone, that cop shows up again, and he goes inside and he discovers that the ruby's gone too. And I'm like, sir, were you ever really even in the tent? How would you have known it was there?
Well, and also, my biggest issue was that the last people he saw go in the tent were the gang. So, like, they're number one suspects right now.
Yeah, but he also saw Mr. McDougal leave the tent earlier in the episode, too.
Yeah, and he was looking pretty suspicious. So, okay.
And
maybe not number one.
They're standing outside the tent, though, and I think it was Scrappy who suggested that now they go to the dunk tank to see if they can find more clues there. I noticed something kind of weird here. So, Daphne's like, that's a great idea, Scrappy. And Scrappy starts to run. Yeah. And then Daphne goes, Scrappy? And then the screen goes black for a transition. Yeah. And then that's just not brought up. They come back, they go to the dunk tank, but, like, what was the... Why? I don't get it.
Scrappy just bolted, and Daphne was like, sir?
And we're just going to leave that alone.
Yeah, we're just not going to talk about it. They do find a piece of paper on the ground.
Yes, it's from Mr. McDowell's memo.
Well, I have two questions there. So one, when we see it on the ground, it looks like a pristine white piece of paper with some writing on it. And when they pick it up, it is the dirtiest piece of fucking paper I've ever seen in my life. And so that right away intrigued me. How did it get so dirty by just being picked up? And second off, it's just a printer piece of paper. So how do we know that it's Mr. D's?
Oh, no, it does say on the paper. It says... the memo pad of Mr. McDougal on it.
Okay, I completely missed that then. Okay.
I missed it during the first watch, so I was also thinking that. But no, when we watched it the second time, I saw that.
Okay, I'll take it back then. Never mind.
So
because I was just like, how?
The paper does say, though, that don't forget the black box for... I think it said the rattle, they first thought it said.
Yeah, because there was dirt over one of the letters
or something, yeah. So the clown attacks again, chases them everywhere.
Okay, the clown is not trying hard. Yeah, no. He was super annoying, and he's not trying very hard to get it. Because, like, every chance that he's had to get the box, he just kind of, like, stands there.
I do appreciate that he is one of the very few clowns I've seen as a villain character in Scooby-Doo who's actively making jokes while he's terrorizing the gang.
Oh, yeah. Also, why are they allowing just, like, a clown to terrorize children?
Because there's other people here.
Yeah, there's a fair going on, and you are dressed as a clown, and you're just terrorizing everybody. Like, I don't understand how the cops haven't come and, like, picked him up yet.
There is a cop on the scene, and he knows something's up, so come on, dude.
And he's following somebody. Or at least staying close to the science tent.
Right. In this instance, Scooby gets distracted by a pie contest, and the clown shows up. Scrappy throws a pie at him, and they run away.
It was blueberry pie.
This is when I noticed something about this episode that was interesting for Scrappy as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that one moment where he threw the pie at the clown so that he and Scooby could get away, he never, like, you know how he's always like puppy power, like I'm gonna fight you. Never tries to.
He didn't really do that this time.
He never tried to intimidate the clown in this episode. He never tried to fight him. He did try to fight the Commandante, I think, in the Mark of Scooby.
Yeah.
But no, he never got any into any fights for this one. Which
maybe that's why I liked him in this episode. There were a couple scenes where I was like, he is looking like a cute little pupper.
Yeah. So the raffle begins for charity, and they realize that the rattle on the memo pads is supposed to say raffle. I noticed that in the background we see a couple that's just hanging on each other. Did you see that too?
Yeah. Okay, so I posted that on my Instagram story on Friday. And I was just like, there was always that one couple in high school.
But it's just, this is really telling me because we see so many people here, and there's no other people like any other time in the episode.
I did like, though, I don't know if you noticed it. So when they walked up, the couple was like right there on their right, on like the right side of the screen. And then when like the next people walk up and the screen shifts, they're now like all the way at the beginning of the crowd. I did see that. Yeah, because I was just like, oh, they teleported.
It was just one of those animation things.
Yeah.
This is when
they were like, Jerry. Oh, we definitely need that couple there.
It was Jerry that was walking up to them because he was just talking to them, and they're like, the Ruby's gone, and Mr. McDabble's gone. Everybody is just gone.
Also, how does Jerry not know that Mr. D is gone? Because you were there. You were there when he disappeared. Why is no one talking about this?
Well, nobody noticed that he became the clown in that instance. Because, spoilers, guys, Jerry's the clown. And I love that he's standing right by them while they're all talking. And I think it was Daphne. Yeah, it was Daphne. She says, we better check what's in that box at this point. So we do a close-up on Scrappy, who's about to open the box. And in that one scene change, that one sentence, which is, we better check what's in the box, Jerry became the clown.
Yep. He jumped out of the dunk tank and was like, oh, let me open it.
And now Jerry's gone, so, I mean, if anyone's paying attention, but also at the same time, how did he do that?
I don't know.
Jerry,
that's why I said, like, there's no... Okay, you know how we always say there's, like, the villain, and then there's always, like, a background villain?
Like in a comic
that's helping the main... Yeah. That definitely is happening. I don't know how, even if it's just a person standing off to the side helping him do a quick change, like we would in high school theater. Okay? There is somebody helping him, and I will figure out who.
Yeah, but then also, where's he disappearing to if the clown is somebody else sometimes? No.
Like, I think he has the clown... Maybe it's like he's got the clown costume underneath his clothes, right? And then he, like, turns the corner and somebody just pulls his clothes as he keeps walking. Like, you know.
Yeah, but he has like, full-on makeup, though.
Okay, so maybe, right? He put the makeup on and then, like, concretes it on his face or whatever, like, super spray, whatever. And then he puts on a Jerry mask. So then when he turns the corner, they rip off the Jerry mask, and then it's the clown makeup.
Sure.
I'm blowing it wide open, Derek.
Yeah, the clown chases them again. At this point, they find Mr. McDabble. He is tied up in the ticket booth. And I like that he's just standing. He's gagged, and he has his hands tied up. But like, he's standing up. He's free to walk, and he's just chilling in that ticket booth.
He's hanging out.
Sir, I know that you've been kidnapped, but you're kind of being lazy right now. I imagine you can open that door.
He was like, someone put me in here for a reason. It's fine.
I just wrote, like, he's just being lazy. And he wants the box back.
Bro, he's so sketchy about the box, too, because because at that point, too, he's like, I'm in a rush. Give me the box. I have to go. And it's like, we know afterwards that, like, he just wants to get to the raffle. But he really does not... I don't take him as a man that gives a shit about charity.
Well, also, I like that he just got kidnapped and he's still worried about the charity.
Yeah. Like, it was very, like, I know we don't know him very well, but it was very out of character from what I have seen of him.
Yeah.
Because so far all I've seen is that he hates Shaggy, and that's enough for me not to like him.
And he also likes to evil laugh sometimes when he's alone.
Yeah. Just a nice little evil laugh to get him through the day.
Everybody starts to run away, though, and he, like, shouts after them. He's just like, I'm gonna get you all expelled. And Shaggy's just like, but sir, we've already graduated.
I thought that was so funny.
You ever have, like, those teachers where, like, you just wish they would say that to you, and you're just like, bitch.
Oh, yeah.
So they go and hide on the merry-go-round carousel. And
he's like, we fooled them.
I like that the clown gets on the carousel and he hops on one of the horses behind Scrappy as if he's going to catch up to him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, give me that box.
But somehow reaches far enough to reach over to where Scooby is. Did you notice that? Like, his arm extended.
Was it maybe Scooby and Scrappy? I don't know. One of the dogs he was behind.
Well, it was both. Yeah, no, he was behind Scrappy. Because I remember when he reached for Scooby, I was like, that's a long arm.
Then either Shaggy or Daphne turned the carousel off.
Yeah. Which means that they hopped off of it while it was moving. That's dangerous.
The clown flew off, and he lands in a vat of caramel.
That's not FDA approved.
Well, then it, like, immediately, dries, and he's, like, trapped in it now. So they were able to reveal that it's Jerry. And they look in the box, finally, and it's just a stupid pocket watch. It's a pocket watch.
Scrappy goes, it's a dumb old watch. And then Mr. D goes, and it's not waterproof. Yeah, he goes, that's right. And it's not waterproof, which is why I threw it at Daphne. And I'm thinking, if I won a raffle and my prize was a dumb, old, not waterproof pocket watch, you know how pissed off I'd be? My high school had enough money to put on this whole fucking science fair, bingo, whatever. Yeah, a fucking merry-go-round. And you're gonna give me a dumb old pocket watch that's not even fucking waterproof. Like, sir.
I think my favorite part with that was that Scrappy just said to Mr. McDouble's face, oh, it's a dumb old pocket watch. Yeah. He's just like, yep, that's right.
Yep. We also find out, because Scrappy admits that he's a little confused on how Mr. D got kidnapped.
Me too.
And, yeah, me too. So Daphne's like, oh, that's an easy one. Like fucking Velma, right? She's like, oh, that's an easy one. I've known it this whole fucking time. Right. I'm like, motherfucker, no you didn't. So she walks over to the dunk tank, and she's like, you see that mirror right there? And I'm like, bitch, we've been to this place 3 times, and there was never a fucking mirror.
Yeah, because she says that when he was dunked in the tank, he landed behind the mirror.
Okay, so then how did no one fucking notice that?
I have questions. So, like, yeah, how did no one notice? Wouldn't they have seen their own reflections in the mirror?
Yep.
Would no one have seen the splash that we did actually see in the scene when he was dunked? I'm so confused.
Yeah. I was curious.
Well, also, sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
Keep in mind, in this, because Jerry is super fast. He also had to be super fast to be able to stand there while everybody's dunking Mr. McDouble, do the costume change, pull Mr. McDouble out of the dunk tank, tie him up, put him in the ticket booth, come back, and then attack the gang for the box.
Okay, wait, so I have this, right? Okay. So, he turns around the corner, rips off his Jerry mask, turns into the clown. Okay?
Fucking Jerry.
He tosses...
Go on.
He tosses Mr. D over to the accomplice, who then ties him up and takes him over to the ticket booth. Now, he's already there, and he's already in the costume, right? Because the accomplice helped him. So, the most he has to do, because the accomplice is going to take care of Mr. D, he's going to stuff him in the thing. The most he has to do now is get the box. That's it. The accomplice helped, but got away with it. Jerry did not. Jerry went to jail.
Because he didn't pay his taxes.
He didn't pay his taxes.
Well,
he didn't like that Groovy Scoobcast, and so he went to jail.
So, I like that Shaggy and Scooby kind of confirm my confusion because Shaggy was just like, oh, okay. After Daphne explains the mirrors, and he's like, do you get it, Scoob? And he's like, absolutely not.
No.
And he goes, yeah, like, me neither. And that redeemed the ending for me a bit. Because I was about to mark it down more because the explanation was stupid, and it is. But because Scooby and Shaggy agreed with me.
Yeah. Because like, they went very meta, where it was just like, yeah, we know this doesn't make sense, but here's what we got.
So he proceeds to order 4 hot dogs, 4 hamburgers, 4 fries, and 4 shakes. And Scooby appears on a unicycle as a clown and steals all of them.
Yep.
Well, that was our discussion for the Crazy Carnival Caper. Let's hop back over to the Mark of Scooby. What did you award that on the Scooby Snack-O-Meter?
I gave that one a 4.
Okay. I did too.
Like I said, yeah, it was a boring episode. I don't know
if you guys could tell. Guys, if you could tell that we were bored in talking about that episode, it's because we were. I'm really sorry.
When we go through and just list what happened in an episode, you can tell we don't care about it.
Yeah, like, at least we were able to make a theory out of the Crazy Carnival Caper,
yeah.
Which is why I'm giving that one a 5.
The Jerry Mask.
The Jerry Mask. What did you give that one?
I also gave that one a 5.
Okay. I don't have anything really to say that's exciting about the Mark of Scooby. It was a very inoffensive episode. Like,
correct.
Like,
yes.
I don't hate it. I certainly don't love it. It wasn't keeping my attention all that much, but
no,
it wasn't bad.
No, like, I wouldn't mark it as like, because we've definitely seen worse episodes.
Yeah.
But I didn't love it. It wasn't up there.
And I liked the small scale kind of mystery going on with the Crazy Carnival Caper. Like, they're back to their old high school.
Yeah.
For a little fair, and there's a clown.
Back to our roots.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it still could have, been better, which is why I'm going to stay neutral on that one. Just give it a straight 5.
Honestly, with that one, I think that they probably could have turned that into, like, a regular amount of time episode. Like, that could have been like a 30-minute episode.
I agree.
And I think it would have been better.
I completely agree with you.
I think that one had, like, the potential for it.
I feel like a lot of stuff happened in just those 11 minutes, though.
Oh,
which is odd, because I feel like nothing happened in the Mark of Scooby.
No, it's so weird that 2 episodes with the same allotted amount of time, like, you could get so much done.
To be honest with you, I feel like
nothing.
I feel like more happened in each of the 7-minute shorts from last week than in that episode.
I could 100% agree with you on that one.
That's a shame.
It is.
Well, since our scores are identical and I am doing the math, it looks like that Groovy Scoobcast is awarding the pair, the Mark of Scooby and the Crazy Carnival Caper, a 4.5 out of 10 on the Scooby Snack-O-Meter.
All right.
So, not mad about that one.
No.
You want to hear a fun fact?
Always.
So, as I had said at the beginning of our discussion for the Crazy Carnival Caper, Central High was the very first high school that was ever named as being the high school the gang attended, and it is one of 4 that have ever been identified in the Scooby franchise entirely. The other 3 being Coolsville High School, Crystal Cove High School, and Ridge Valley High School.
Love it.
Yeah. So next week, we are going to be moving on to The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. This is one of the series that we watch in chronological order due to its plot. So Shannon, would you like to inform us what episode we'll be watching next week?
Next week, we're going to watch That's Monstertainment.
This is the 5th episode for that series, and here is a premise for it, coming from Scoobypedia. Horror host and demon chest escapee, Zamba, magically transports Scooby and the gang into the film The Son of the Bride of the Ghost of Frankenstein. Oh, I'm so fucking excited.
These episodes are always like a hit or a miss.
Oh,
and
yes.
I just really hope this one's a hit or a real bad miss. I feel like we started so strong with this series.
We did.
And then, like, every episode it just gets worse and worse and worse.
I don't even remember the last one, so...
Nope. I
might need to do a refresher. But moving on to Scooby-Doo news, we have quite a few things to talk about today here for that. For starters, the Scooby-Doo Pop Funko from Hot Topic has been restocked if you guys wanted to go and get that. Some of you may have seen last week that the Pop Funko website had released a second art series Scooby-Doo Funko. This one being purple with a bunch of like bats and a really cool camo design looking pattern on it.
Yeah, I was in love with it.
I was too. I did not get it from the website. I unfortunately had to buy it on eBay.
I know. I haven't found it. Well, I haven't looked on eBay yet. So
they're expensive because, of course.
I know. That's what made me nervous about it.
But, just at this point, because I'm so hell-bent on having all of them, and I have all of the currently released ones, so I can't not have it. So I have to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Sucks.
No, I literally, because you had posted it on Instagram, and when I saw it, I literally texted you, and I was like, I'm in love, but I'm at work, and I can't buy it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then it was gone by the time I got home, yeah.
Right. The Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, the complete first season DVD set, is coming out next month, January 18th or 19th. You'll probably be able to find that on websites like Walmart, Target, or Amazon, so be on the lookout for that. Also this week, we got news from Sci-Fi Wire about Scooby-Doo, The Sword and the Scoob, the newest upcoming direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movie.
I thought it looked really cute.
I thought so, too. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this one.
Yeah, the animation on it looked, actually pretty decent, so...
But, yeah, guys, we have shared the article and the trailer on our social media, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already, and let us know your thoughts on that. We're pretty excited for it, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
Lastly, this isn't really Scooby-Doo news, but more so news about the podcast. So, Shannon and I had been talking about this for a little while, and we had been talking to some of our friends who also produce a podcast, and we decided to move that Groovy Scoobcast to a new podcast hosting site. We were originally on SoundCloud, which we've been on since the beginning of the podcast, and we have made a decision to transition over to Buzzsprout as our new host. We're really excited to see what features we're able to take advantage of with this new site. We're going to get really cool soundbite visuals and better access to data and stuff like that. I think it's just going to be a really cool and progressive thing for us to do.
Yeah.
For the Scoobcast. Well,
and this is a site that is primarily made for podcasts, whereas SoundCloud is more for music.
Yes.
So I think this move is a big move for us because everything that they do is specifically geared towards us.
Yes.
So it's really nice. Just even in the little bit that we've done, just looking at it and exploring the site seems really, really cool. So I am very excited for it.
Yeah. And with this transition, there's going to be some changes coming to the podcast in terms of how we get new episodes out to you, as well as new updates on the website. Be on the lookout for it. We're going to be trying our best to make it as seamless as possible so you guys still get our weekly episodes.
Yes, we want you to still get your quality content from Derek and Shannon.
Right. So if you guys want to talk to us about anything that we discussed today, whether it be the episodes we reviewed, next week's episode, any of the news, we'd love to hear from you. We're on social media on Facebook and Instagram at That Groovy Scoobcast and Twitter at Groovy Scoobcast.
You can also check out our YouTube at That Groovy Scoobcast. You can check out our website, www.thatgroovyscoobcast.com, or send us an email at thatgroovyscoobcast@gmail.com.
And with that, we hope that you enjoyed That Groovy Scoobcast.
Come back next week for a Scooby Snack Build Time.
Bye, guys.
Bye!